While Velma and Luis decide who gets to commit the first homicide in this fog, do us a favor and subscribe to Game Chain. It's the only way to ensure you're here to witness the inevitable collapse of Blackjack's township. Velma's sleeping, blissfully unaware that Luis is probably dreaming of ways to finally punch her. Instead, Luis is playing it safe, pretending to research while secretly simmering in his own jealousy. He's probably imagining the look on Velma's face when her little romance with Fimmer inevitably goes up in flames. Fimmer's lucky girl is out there in the grey, trying to convince a Megasloth to actually obey. Zimmerman is watching from the porch, likely praying that prehistoric beast finally decides to eat Velma. Look at that! Velma's actually trying to tame Megasloth 1, probably hoping a giant prehistoric pet will make her more tolerable to Zimmerman. Luis is playing the scholar, while Blackjack's township clings to a hope as thin as winter ice. Meanwhile, Zimmerman and Luis are practically vibrating with hate, just one bad breath away from a fistfight. Behold the majestic sight of a wimp battling an oak tree grove for the glory of southwestern coast. Now Velma's decided to tackle some granite because nothing says romance like digging a hole while Fimmer watches. Meanwhile, Zimmerman is out here fighting a stump, probably just to avoid being in the same zip code as Luis. "44 days of misery, and it all boils down to Velma milking goat dough too."
I'm hauling, not chopping.
Still lazy as always.
Look at your pathetic wall.
Better than your face. Leave.
Velma's smoothing a wall because polishing stone is the only thing keeping her sane in Blackjack's township. Zimmerman is hacking at granite, blissfully unaware of whatever is prowling the forest for a snack. Across the yard, Lewis is just waiting for a reason to make this a very bad day for everyone. Look at Zimmerman smoothing that wall, meticulously crafting a very pretty tomb for himself.
Fine. Let's just finish this.
Chat, if you want to see Lewis actually finish hauling that rock before he snaps, drop a donation for Game Changer. Help us fund the inevitable collapse of Blackjack's township. Bear and his husband have a bond, which is just more leverage for the universe to break. Velma's finally stopped polishing rocks to try and bond with Megasloth 1. Let's see if the giant sloth has more patience for her than Lewis does. Meanwhile, Lewis is ignoring the drama to chop down a poplar tree, probably imagining it's someone he actually likes. "44 days of survival, and Zimmerman and Velma are still one bad look from a blood..." Zimmerman is pretending to focus on those dailies, but we all know he's just waiting for the right moment to snap. Zimmerman hacks at granite, though he'd clearly rather be swinging that pick at his rival. Lewis watches Velma dig granite, wondering how easy it would be to bury her in it.
My arm's starting to ache.
Bear is probably the only thing keeping his husband from having a complete meltdown over that rock.
I'm just relaxing, Fenev.
Call it whatever you want, Zimmerman, but while you're lounging around, I'm the one actually hauling this wood to the crates.
Enjoy your mindless labor, Fenev.
Meanwhile, Velma and Luis are practically vibrating with hatred, just waiting for one of them to breathe too loudly. Look at that, a combat supplier from the Glimmer people emerging from the fog. Maybe Blackjack's township can finally buy enough weaponry to make Zimmerman and Velma's inevitable brawl actually interesting. Fimmer and their lover are actually getting along. Enjoy it while it lasts. The Rim loves a tragedy. Bear's husband is actually sleeping, blissfully unaware of the hatred simmering in the next room. Meanwhile, Zimmerman is feeling far too cheerful for a defector who is one bad mood away from a fight with Luis. Velma's trying to tame a megasloth in the fog. Let's hope Fimmer finds this ambition cute before she gets flattened. While Velma grooms a beast the fog, Zimmerman and Luis are practically vibrating with hatred. Toss a donation in for Game Changer, folks, because we're going to need a massive budget to clean up the bloodbath these two are about to start. Velma is happily hacking at granite while Zimmerman and Luis just wait for a reason to bleed. Velma's just one wrong look away from murdering someone while she watches that pathetic wood hauling display. Oh look, Toad's collection of fortune just popped up. Let's see if Luis can stop hacking at that oak tree long enough to gamble with our lives before the 25 days are up. Hen 3 gets more tenderness from that livestock farmer than Zimmerman will ever see in his life. Lewis is currently murdering a poplar tree, which is the only thing in Blackjack's township he isn't eyeing for slaughter. Fimmer and their lover are playing house, a touching bond that will likely end in a bloodbath.
My back is killing me.
Meanwhile, Velma is pouring all that repressed rage into a slab of granite, treating the rock like it's one of her co-workers. Lewis is hacking at an oak tree, likely imagining it's Velma's head for a brief, blissful moment. Meanwhile, Zimmerman is out there petting a megasloth for wool, probably because the animal is the only thing in Blackjack's township that doesn't hate him. Zimmerman is clutching that silver, probably dreaming of a payout that gets him far from this disaster. Too bad for him that Luis is currently stitching a parka, ensuring the only thing leaving Blackjack's township is a piece of clothing.
This revolver feels heavy today.
Blackjack's township is barely holding it together, and Zimmerman's hatred for the parka maker is the only thing growing. Velma carves a sculpture, secretly hoping it's the last piece of art she ever makes for these losers. Velma carves her little statue while Zimmerman and Luis eye each other, oblivious to the raiding party circling Gaston's world. Now Velma's just smoothing a wall, probably imagining it's the barrier that finally keeps Zimmerman out of her sight. "45 days of misery, and all we have to show for it is Zimmerman smoothing a floor." Fimmer and his lover are cozy, while the space pirate sues and the air thickens with hate. While Lewis sews a parka for a winter that will probably outlast their patience, do us a favor and hit that like button for Game Changer, unless you enjoy watching Zimmerman's spirit shatter in real time. Zimmerman is really giving it his all with that floor, as if a smooth surface could hide his complete lack of spine.
My back is killing me.
Velma's just scrubbing away, probably imagining she's erasing that idiot from the face of Blackjack's township. Too slow, Blackjack's township. Someone else grabbed Toad's cache of supplies, leaving Luis to chop trees and Zimmerman to be a disappointment in a clear winter night. Velma builds an egg box with such care, purely to avoid looking at Luis. Just a peaceful slumber for the defector while the grudge with Velma continues to simmer. Zimmerman is fast asleep, blissfully unaware that his feud with Velma is the only thing keeping this place interesting. The Southwestern Coezran's little project is just a fan's waiting room for the inevitable bloodbath. Eating a fine meal, Fimmer's partner wonders if her lover is actually a decent cook or simply terrified. Fimmer probably considers the meal a victory, provided his partner doesn't notice the taste of desperation.
This revolver is too heavy. "46 days of survival and Zimmerman is still one bad look away from killing Luis. "46 days of this, and Zimmerman is just stuffing his face while Velma and Luis orbit a fistfight. Velma is smoothing the floor, polishing a surface that will eventually be stained by their inevitable collapse. Meanwhile, Luis is stitching a parka, probably hoping the thick wool will muffle the sound of his own jealousy. Across the yard, Velma is cloud watching, likely imagining a giant storm, wiping Zimmerman and Bear off the face of Gaston's...
Behold the sheer dedication of a defector polishing a floor for a colony that hates him. Velma's just staring at the sky, pretending the hate for Zimmerman isn't the only thing keeping her warm. The livestock farmer is probably calculating exactly how many cows it would take to trample her rival into the dirt.
Floyd, you're too slow.
Shut your mouth, Zimmerman.
Fimmer and his lover are cozy, while Zimmerman scrubs the floor like a man awaiting execution.
Make me Floyd.
Get back to work, Zimmerman.
While Velma scrubs the floor to distract herself from the inevitable murder spree, do us a favor and subscribe to Game Changer. Trust me, you'll want a front row seat for the exact moment Blackjack's township finally collapses into a bloodbath. Lewis and Velma are almost touching, just waiting for the spark that burns Blackjack's township down. Velma is smoothing the floor, carefully preparing a polished surface for whenever Zimmerman and Luis finally snap. At least Fimmer provides a distraction, though he's probably the only reason this place hasn't devolved into a bloodbath yet. And here's Velma, meticulously scrubbing away, pretending her romantic bliss makes this winter purgatory actually bearable.
I am working, Floyd.
I'm not Floyd, idiot.
Whatever you say, Floyd.
Lewis and his rival are one insult away from a brawl, while a mechanoid likely watches from the...
Keep hauling, Zimmerman.
A park in the making, and yet the jealousy remains the only thing keeping that pirate. Zimmerman finally cracked because he couldn't save Otis, and now he's coping by eating through the colony's winter reserves. With Velma and Luis already at each other's throats, this is exactly the kind of unstable meltdown Blackjack's township needs right now. Zimmerman's psyche finally snapped after failing to rescue Otis, and now he's stress-eating the southwestern Kojarun's winter supplies. With the feud between him and Velma already simmering, watching him gorge himself is just another delightful way to accelerate the collapse of Blackjack's township. "46 days into this disaster, and the only thing still function is the marriage of Zimmerman and Bear. Too bad Luis is still awake to imagine all the ways he'd like to punch Fimmer's sleeping partner. Midnight at Blackjack's township. Velma is finally asleep, giving the rest of this wreck a brief, blissful respite. Blackjack's township is a modest wreck. Betting on Velma and Luis to not kill each other is a losing game. Another day gone, and Zimmerman is just one bad look away from murdering someone. Bear sleeps beside his husband, blissfully unaware that the piece is just a lie. Meanwhile, Luis is in the kitchen, aggressively prepping simple meals for the people he can't stand.
This rifle's cleaner than you.
Keep talking, Floyd, and I will use this knife to carve a smile into that smug face of yours.
Try it, Fenev. I dare.
Look at that jealous pirate hacking away at a poplar tree, probably imagining it's Velma's neck.
Keep playing that game, Floyd, but I have a parka to finish, and you aren't worth the effort of cleaning the blade.
Luis is sewing a parka, probably just have something to wrap around his bitterness. Hit that subscribe button for Game Changer, folks. You won't want to miss the exact second Zimmerman finally snaps and turns Blackjack's township into a crime scene. Meanwhile, Zimmerman is hauling hay, likely the only thing in Blackjack's township that isn't actively trying to kill someone. Velma and the pirate are one bad mood away from a bloodbath. How sweet.
My revolver's cleaner than you.
Big deal. Maybe you spend so much time polishing that piece of scrap because it's the only thing in this hospital that isn't a complete failure, Zimmerman.
Still better than your face.
Now he's stitching a parka, likely imagining how well it would muffle a scream.
Keep talking and I will use this plasteel knife to fix that smug look on your face. Now get out of my way so I can finish this hauling.
Zimmerman is smoothing a wall, blissfully unaware of the mechanoid still eyeing Blackjack's township from the trees. Look at the wimp smoothing a wall, meticulously polishing the tombstone of the southwestern coiseran. Meanwhile, Lewis is hauling wood, probably imagining the crate as a coffin for Velma.
I'm smoothing, not hauling.
Do it faster then.
Get some goat juice, Floyd.
Velma's just smoothing a wall, pretending her love for Fimmer can actually distract her from the smell of failure.
Shut up and work.
Lewis is scrubbing animal filth, which is still more productive than his relationship with Zimmerman's wife. Blackjack's township is barely clinging on, and Velma is spending her energy fighting a piece of granite. Lewis is stargazing, blissfully unaware of how quickly Blackjack's township can be wiped off. Now Zimmerman is chewing on a simple meal, probably dreaming of the day he can finally punch that man in the face. Too bad the wimp is too exhausted to actually stand up and do it. Thimmer's love is the only thing keeping that wall smoothing effort from looking like a complete mental breakdown. Velma's finally asleep, giving Zimmerman a brief blissful reprieve from her insufferable presence.